You're listening to the Team Check-In, powered by Teamflect. Hi everyone, welcome to another episode of the Team Check-In, and with me today, I have Jannik Reinhard. Jannik, hi, welcome to the show.
Hey, I'm happy to be here, thanks.
Yeah, I think you are, by far, alongside Emmanuel Gallis, you are one of the most technically proficient people we've had on the show. Usually we have like a bunch of HR people and other literature majors like me. So in terms of like technical and scientific literacy, we've been pretty much on the lower end of the spectrum so far. So it's awesome to have you here. And so can you tell our audience a bit about yourself, what it is that you do, because you are a Microsoft MVP after all.
Yes. Yeah, let me introduce myself. My name is Jannik Reinhard. I'm from Germany. I'm working as technical lead in a large chemistry company. In the end, in my daily business, I'm working on AI solutions to figure out how can AI help us to improve end user experience to make our IT more reliable. And beside this, as you already mentioned, I'm also a Microsoft MVP. And with this, I'm very happy to share my knowledge in my blogs on public speaking with others. Currently, I'm also in the progress to write my first own ebook. It's quite new for me. And let's see how this went.
Awesome. So is the ebook in German or in English?
I will write it in English. It's an English ebook.
Awesome. And we will plug the ebook further down the line, of course. But what is the topic? What is it going to be about?
I'm a dual MVP. I'm an MVP in Intune and in AI platform. This means I try to combine both, and I'm writing about automation, analytics, and AI with Intune. This means I describe a bit what you can do with out-of-the-box functionality, what Microsoft provides, but I also go very deep how you can build your own solutions and explain it a bit that something is in for beginners, but is also for some experts that they hopefully can get out a bit benefit.
And does the dual MVP also mean that you don't have a lot of free personal time?
Sorry?
Does being a dual MVP also mean that you don't have a lot of free time on your hands?
I have one problem, and this is I have too much fun in what I'm doing. This means I dedicate a lot of my time into my job, into community work, because my hobby is my job, and that's a great thing. But it's also, on the other hand, sometimes a problem because you realize, oh fuck, I have invested a lot of time into this.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's one of those like champagne problems. Oh, I love my job too much. Oh, my work is my hobby. Like, who cries for Jannik? But how did the MVP thing come about? How does one become a Microsoft MVP, let alone a double Microsoft MVP?
In the end, I was new in the environment in my company, and I'm a person who is very motivated. And my goal was to came very fast into these topics, to learn a lot about. And what I decide then is also to write blogs about it. This means my goal was not only to learn it for myself, to also what I learn, I want to share with others. This was my starting point. And in this journey, I had a lot of fun also with this. This means I came on a stage where I write more or less weekly blog posts about topics. I was then also involved in different community projects, open source, and this was then recognized by Microsoft, and I got an Intune, or former Enterprise Mobility MVP. And then I switched my job in my company. I worked more at AI topics. I also blogged about this or speak about AI things. And then I was recognized in a renewal this year, also in this category. And now I work on content for both.
Awesome. And when you started writing those blog posts, were there ever like some sort of commercial motivation behind it? Oh, maybe I can turn this, monetize this in any other way, or was it just, ooh, I like talking about this, let me write about it?
I have no commercial motivations to do this. This means everything what I blog, what I do is for free. Also, my ebook, what I'm currently writing, is for free. I will have some sponsors who supported me to bring this
Mhm.
out, but in the end, I have no commercial motivation. As already mentioned, it's my hobby, and I love to share it with big community. And I think the biggest gift what you can get is if someone say, hey, this helped me, thanks for writing this. This is more or less my motivation why I do this.
That's awesome. That's awesome. I mean, I had the same feelings when I was writing for this movie website called Screen Rant, and I was like writing lists like, oh, which one is the best Kingsguard in the history of Game of Thrones, or like which Avengers character like coincides with which Invincible superhero. These were topics that I was like normally not shutting up about, like day in and day out. So those things just came naturally, which is awesome. It's so cool that you have something that you're so passionate about and come back to you in your day-to-day work life. So the MVP situation, it is a lot of work. We've had another MVP on the show before, and it is expected of you, if you're going to have that title, to be, producing content, right?
Yes.
And so what are some of the benefits of being a Microsoft MVP, in your opinion?
In the end, as soon as you get this award, it changed a lot for you. In the end, what I have as possibility, and I really enjoy this, I have can travel through the world, can speak at events, and this is very awesome because you have mix between doing what you love to do, like speaking, creating content, but on the other hand side, you also meet a lot of people, you see a lot of things. But you can also talk with product groups at Microsoft, can participate with your feedback on the product development. You got a lot of insights, and also nice thing is I learned a lot of friends to know during this journey, and it's always amazing what I experience the last months and year. After getting this award.
Perfect. And I think what our audience will appreciate with this episode is so far, if you haven't noticed, we will be talking about AI. This is going to be a very AI centric episode. We talked about it before the show. And for the longest time, they've been having a literature major's opinions on AI. And then, they've been having, so people in HR leadership roles, opinions on AI in the workplace, which I'm not discrediting, right? It's awesome to have multiple perspectives and, people who are not experts can bring like a certain outside point of view to topics. But again, I think for the first time in the discussion of AI, we actually have someone who is very well versed in it. And let's start things off from right from there because it's not just the show, right? AI is one of the most like commonly talked about things in the world right now. It is the biggest buzzword. If anyone and everyone has a little, AI icons on their apps, on their websites, and everyone is talking about it, right? Everyone is like, oh, these are the best practices with AI. Oh, wait, what is this guy's background? Oh, nothing tech-wise whatsoever. So, what do you make of, the rise of the, prominence of AI in public discourse so far?
As you describe it, it's a very big hype.
Mhm.
And I'm very convinced that there is a lot of good use cases, that there's a lot of potential, and that AI will also change a lot how we work, how we communicate, how we interact with content. I think
Mhm.
This is for me very clear. But on the other hand, it's a hype. This means everyone use it to promote their products, to promote their self. And this is also something where we still have to figure out, where does it make sense to apply AI? Where is it really in benefit, and where is this in hype? And it's only a nice marketing thing, but it's not so much benefit behind. Or maybe sometimes I also saw it's promoted as AI, but if you dive a bit deeper, it's no AI. It's only because it's fancy. And this is something, what will also develop a bit to see where are the strong use cases. But beside of this, I think currently we are in a phase where everyone spams with it, where everyone gets a feeling out of it, where he tries out, where he learns, build up knowledges. And this is something we should not stop, because this is a good trend that everyone gets in touch on it, gets some own learnings. But in any point of time, this should be a bit more standardized as it is today, because every vendor spams with products. And my point of view is, in the future, you also have to bring this a bit together, because no user want to search in 20 portals to find the information in this custom Copilot. I see it more, you have one central tool like Microsoft Teams, like something else where you can get in, you type something in, and this is routed in the background to the correct AI solution, to the correct Copilot, which can do the task for you, or which can provide you the information you ask for.
Yeah, but Jannik, you're forgetting something. This is the internet, right? You can't have a middle of the road, oh, it's good, but it's also not as good as you think. You are not allowed to have an opinion that is, down the center, reasonable. No, we either have to say, okay, this is the next new best thing, it's the greatest thing ever, and it's going to change our lives, it's going to be so good, it's all going to be AI from now on, we're going to have AI dogs, AI, it's going to be all good, we're going to go into a scientific utopia. Or you have to go the other route and say, no, this is, the coming of the apocalypse, this is bad, we should not touch it with a 5-foot pole. Right? You can't have a reasonable middle of the road opinion on this. You're not allowed to.
But I have it. And I really like AI, but I think you always have to challenge it also a bit, because there are also nice other technologies which are still valid. And I also see that sometimes a lot of pre-work is done that the AI can work on a good way. This means tools has to be adapted, knowledge should be available, because also with AI, you always have the problem, bad in, bad out. And this is also often the problem. You have to work on the left side to have high quality data, and then you get also high quality answers.
Yeah. And of course, with large language models, that's what AI turned into in the public discourse, right? Right now, when people say the word AI, we're actually just focusing on the large language model side of it. That just became like the umbrella term for it. And you mentioned like the managing the data sets effectively, bad in, bad out. There have been some recent controversies on OpenAI and where they're getting their data from. And I would really love your opinions on this, because from the outside looking in, it looks like things are shaking up and everyone is so reliable on using their tools so far. And most people, regardless of their opinions on ChatGPT or other large language models, they are useful in automating, everyday tasks. And I think everyone is now like using it day in and day out for like very small things. But now, from the looks of it, some news are coming out that says that are saying, one, it is running out of training data, right? There are some news saying ChatGPT is running out of internet to train itself on. So is this the end? Is this as good as that particular product gets? Because a lot of opinions are on the side of, oh, this is just like the Wright brothers airplane version of it, and it's going to evolve into something magnificent. But now on the other end saying, no, the development is going to slow down because we don't have any more data to feed it. So what's going on in there?
Yeah, that's a very good question. And I think exactly this is the challenge for the future. In the end, what we have today, we have very big models which are trained with a lot of data, what is available in the internet. But I think the future is also that such companies have to buy informations to make the models more smarter. Or also, if we are in Europe with a whole this data privacy concerns, also when you think about intellectual property on all this stuff, maybe the trend will also go in a direction that there will be company-specific Gen AI models. This means if you're working on a production company, maybe you use all your data and train a custom model which understand what your company is, what your data is, and can also give then more targeted answers to you, like such a generic model. But what I also see is that the trend goes from a large language model, which is trained with a lot of data, but also with good and bad data, will switch to a small language model. It was not trained with so much data, but it was trained with quality data. And such models can then also be hosted on your smartphone or on your smartwatch and can also do without connecting to a cloud, to some data centers outside. It maybe can then process directly on your device and can give you similar answers, similar quality than with big models, but without an outgoing traffic to a black box. And I think this is more or less also what Apple did with their new announcement of their new operating system. I think Apple is very good in doing marketing, but in this point, I think they did something wrong. Apple did a very good job with their model, what they develop. They have such models which are hosted on their phone. It's also fed.
Before we go into analyzing, for the listeners who have not seen it, what's the announcement and what's wrong with it?
Yes, I think Apple announced this Apple AI strategy that the Siri is much smarter. I think everyone who uses Siri knows it's sometimes very bad what you got as answer. And here, Apple invests a lot also to give you more smart proposals when you're in an app, what could help you. It writes you emails and all this stuff. And Apple did it very good. They have a very good approach to do this. And this model is also partly hosted on your phone, but it's also federated in a data center. This means if your phone is not strong enough, it will be forwarded to their data center. And this approach is nice. But what they do in their marketing, they had a collaboration with OpenAI and said, hey, OpenAI can answer all the questions we can't answer. And what was the impression outside is, hey, OpenAI do the job for Apple. But this is wrong. Apple did a very good job, but in the promotion, how was the feeling outside is, they utilized OpenAI, but this is wrong. They only forward to OpenAI if you want to know, I don't know, what is the size of a specific company, if you need public knowledge, because this is the problem of Apple. Apple is focused on data privacy. This means they don't collect data, and without data, it's hard to train such a general purpose model. What, for example, OpenAI or Google or all the other companies do.
That's very interesting, right? Passing the ball straight to OpenAI. I think they, in a time when OpenAI really needs some strong and positive marketing, they did it for them. And moving things along from general AI discussions to now the more corporate side, something we are more used to talking about here. How do you have studied and worked on, digitalization in the corporate world. So how do you think AI will be affecting that process, right? We're obviously moving from the manual and the pen and paper to the digital, right? Digital transformations are a huge part of today's, work environment. So how will AI fit into those digital transformation discussions?
For me, the word Copilot is more or less perfect because I'm very convinced that in 1, 2, or 3 years, your work will not be stolen or take over from an AI. I think it will all only support you. This will not apply for all jobs. I'm sure that jobs like content writer or such stuff maybe could partly took over. But for the most jobs, it's more, it relies you, it makes you better, it makes you stronger because you can concentrate on the on the hard task, on the task where you as person can bring value and everything like formulating an email, hi, how are you, blah, blah, blah. This is something what an AI can do for you. Or searching for content. I think everyone knows, oh, where's the document stored? Where can I find this information? I have to make research. This is all lazy work. Why should I do this? I can concentrate on stuff where I can bring my knowledge, my strengths in, and not to doing all this lazy thing. And for this, the term Copilot is very good because Copilot took over everything what is lazy, and for everything where you need a strong human behind, this is something what we can do. And I like it in the end.
I think there is like a very nuanced discussion to, which jobs can AI do for us? Which jobs like will it do for us? I mean, in the simplest terms, yes, like you said, like the busy work, the lazy work that you were talking about, it's like it is perfect for those. It is amazing for those. I think being in the content writer space, the first 2 to 3 months of the ChatGPT craze was terrifying. Right? It was incredibly scary for me. Right? It was like, oh no, like it's doing a pretty darn good job. It's really good. But then what we started noticing, especially in the search engine optimization department, right, what we started noticing is if a gajillion blog writers put the same similar prompts into ChatGPT, come up with outlines, and start publishing, what you end up is, variations of the same post now being published everywhere. And suddenly, originality scores are going down. Suddenly, search engines started punishing AI generated content, and it just became a whole thing. And I was thinking, yeah, if we all put in the same prompts, if we're all putting the same prompts into this thing, and we're letting it generate the content, it's not going to be so much different from each other, right? It's the results will be pretty similar. But then, if you think about it, unless you are writing content for a very specific niche or very technical or like very, specific area, but if you're writing evergreen content, let's say like 5 ways to keep your employees happy, that sort of thing, which I am very guilty of writing. I write that stuff all the time. Even before, large language models, people were pretty much writing the same thing. The same 10 to 15 advices were, being circulated. Because, again, in some situations, the right answer is pretty obvious. And just like the large language models, we are influenced by everything we see. And what we do is we see everything around us, we put it together, and we pump it out. So there's like a bit of a philosophical discussion to be had around, AI generated content being like, is it truly original? Well, is human generated content truly original? Because it's like an amalgamation of everything we see and it's our personal spin on it. But if you think about it, our personal spin part is also influenced by everything else we see. And yeah, then you just end up going through like this ongoing rabbit hole, which is pretty terrifying.
Yeah, in the end, it's also a bit a chicken egg problem because the model can only learn if a person generate content. But when the person not longer generates content because the model helps you in the most areas, then why should I write this content? This means it's also a bit a hard question because it's chicken egg. Both needs each other in the future.
Yeah, which one came first, the tech bros or the AI apocalypse? And it's just like back and forth.
Yeah.
So, how do you see companies, changing their mindsets as, this AI trend keeps rolling down?
Yeah, I think this will be one of the hardest challenge we have to tackle in the next months. I think
Mhm,
what we have out here are already quite good solutions. I will not say they are amazing
mhm,
good
mhm,
because I also use Office Copilot. It's good, but the expectations are sometimes higher than what the products deliver. But the goal now is to enable your employees. This means you can buy this product, the products are quite good,
mhm,
but someone has to use it. This means without knowing this and without using this, it brings you no benefit, only more costs, more licenses. And this is something where the companies has to work on to enable the users to change the way how they work, but
mhm,
also to educate them what is a good prompt, when does it make sense.
mhm.
Uh, I have to control what came out. Is it 100% answer or is it only 80% and I have to refine it a bit? And this
Mhm.
is, I think, the challenge, the whole user enablement around AI, to bring also the pace on the street, what all these tools can deliver. And I think, especially in Europe, but it's more or less also a global problem,
Mhm.
it's a regulation around. This means AI is very good, is very helpful, but where is something good, there's also something bad. And
Mhm.
this is also something, yeah, where should also be in focus on to build regulations that AI do not so much bad things.
Yeah, I think the user enablement part that you just talked about is incredibly important, and I think that is where, many organizations will need to, adjust their mindsets to, because sure, there are AI tools right now are a dime a dozen. Like our latest guest on the show, Daria Rudnick, she was working on like an AI leadership coach assistant. Everyone is coming out with some great and very innovative tools, but no matter what the tool is, it's only as good as, the prompts you, as the data you feed it, as the like it's only as good as you direct it. And I think, prompt engineering and it's almost this like AI literacy sort of thing where now we will need to be people need will need to be trained on how to use it. So what you get out of it is not, generic crap, but actually, sophisticated, incredibly useful just products. Because for example, like the discussion of AI art, there is AI art that we've seen in some of like it's very generic and with like a single glancing is, yeah, this is quote unquote AI art. But then you have, people like Refik Anadol doing incredible stuff with it and some other very talented people using it through, I'm assuming, very complicated and nuanced processes to just come out with incredible results. And I think when it's used as a very sophisticated tool and not like an instant answering, instant, okay, yeah, instant results machine, then yeah, the end results can be mind blowing. But I think down the line, there will need to be like more education on how to best optimize what you're getting out of it, how to best use it. And yeah, that is the direction people will need to go.
Exactly. But I think also the technology will develop. This means
Hmm.
you have to work on the user side that they know how they prompt, but
Hmm.
also the technology will get better and better and will also compensate the weak questions, the weak prompts, what user
Hmm.
can ask to get the best results out of it. But
Hmm.
it's the same when I talk with you. As more precise I am
Hmm.
when I ask you a question, as better as the answer you can give me. And the
Yeah.
same also applies in this world.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. And yeah, there are plenty of different applications of these AI tools in the, everyday, corporate workplace. I think, and normally this is where I just turn to the camera and do like an ad plug thing for Teamflect, our product. But I just want to tell you about it because this is something we've been working on and we're pretty excited. It's been out for some time. We've been getting like great feedback from our customers, but obviously like as a tech, performance management product, we were like thinking about like, okay, how do we, make the most of like AI and how do we implement it in a way that makes sense for our users, right? Which in a way that we just don't, we're not just writing AI on our webpage and saying, look, we have this. We also, yeah, we're on the same wagon as well. We didn't want to do that, so we held off on it for some time. We had some ideas. We said, yeah, this is too gimmicky. This is too gimmicky. And what we have with when you have like a performance management solution where employees exchange feedback all the time, they give each other recognitions, they complete their goals within our product. It's, you know, built right inside Microsoft Teams. So we just realized, hey, look, we have this amazing data that people create inside their own company, right? On just how they work, how they're completing their goals, you know, the 360-degree feedback from people outside the organization, everything. Look, like this is really, really valuable stuff. So what we started doing with it was inside of our performance review templates, we now added like this little section called like we always had like an employee development plan section where reviewers and reviewees could like work on, okay, so how do we improve? Like how do we create development plans, you know, set development goals for the employees? And now we included like an AI-based assistant, AI-based like suggestions section on it. And what it does is it just takes into account all, you know, everyone's feedback, all the feedback the employee received throughout the review period, their goal completion rates, their tasks and everything, and uses the data created through there to, you know, come up with, hey, you know, these are great, you know, development plan suggestions for this employee. And we've gotten like great feedback for it. And the best part I think of it is just, it's the data that you create. It's the data within your organization. And yeah, when it's organic like that, when it's built in organically like that, I think it can do wonders.
Absolutely. And this is also the perfect example. It's always an 80% solution. This means it helps you to save a lot of time. It gives you good proposals, maybe not 100%. You can maybe adjust this a bit, but this is a good example. It saves you time. It took over some lazy work, but it makes an awesome great job because it learns from what you already have.
Yeah, exactly. And I think the more we use it, the more time we spend with these tools, the more they get used to us. It just keeps getting better and better and better.
Absolutely.
So, Jannik, we're approaching 40 minutes, and yeah, this has been an awesome chat overall. It's been really nice having you on the show. And before we wrap things up, let's talk about the book. Let's go into detail. When is it coming out? What can people expect from it? And where can they find it?
Yes, my goal was that it's already out. But I don't reach my own goal because I was very involved in some topics in my company. But I think the release will be early next year. And the people can expect, as I mentioned before, if you are new in this environment, you have a good way where you can start. You learn a bit how things works in the background, how you can build your own solutions. But it's also something when you are already experienced, where I want to give you some stuff at hand, some solutions, some architectures where you can learn from, and what you can apply one-to-one also in your company. And where you can find this book, I will publish this in the Apple bookstore, but I will also provide this on my personal blog page, jannikreinhard.com, where you can also download this.
All right. And what's the working title? What will be like the main title for the ebook?
To be honest, this is the point what I want to do at the end. I will start to write the content, and then I will do this creative stuff with creating cover, creating the title, but also here I will get some advices from AI because sometimes the AI is more creative than I am.
Awesome. Jannik, it's been great to have you on the show, and people can reach you at Jannik Reinhard on LinkedIn. And if you're listening to us on iTunes, Spotify, or wherever you find podcasts, leave us a like, subscribe. It really helps the show out. And if you're looking for a performance management solution built right inside Microsoft Teams and Outlook, you can always give Teamflect a try. All the links you need from this episode will be in the description. That's it. Bye-bye, everyone.